Hello Hot Seat and Hot Seat fans. Today we have got the pre-race hype show for round 3 in Monza. What a race it's going to be after a 2-week break. Everyone's ready, everyone's hyped. It's on Saturday 8 PM BST. Make sure you watch it. I'm not sure if it's going to be streamed actually. Hopefully we can get someone to stream it, but yeah. It's going to be an exciting race, lots of overtakes, and I really hope we can get the footage for it. So in this pre-race hype show, I'm just going to go through my outlook on things. You'll have to let me know if you agree or disagree, especially if you're a driver. I want to know if you think I've got you right in this. So anyway, let's move on forward into my predictions and where I think the drivers stand in the race and where I think they'll finish and things like that. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to start at the top of the standings and work my way down. So at the top is Edgy or Muxjizzy, however you pronounce his name. He's driving in the Red Bull and yeah, he's in first. So my opinions on him, he's shown a really good ability to overtake, which is actually huge in Monza, with all the overtakes, all the DRS zones, heavy braking zones, things like that. I think he'll really thrive in Monza because that's what Monza's all about. He has been slightly inconsistent, with starting in last in Hungary, in Austria, falling back to 14th, but the fact that he's shown that he can come back from those, he came third in Hungary after starting in 18th, he went back to 14th and actually came first on track in Austria. I wouldn't say he's inconsistent. I'd just say that he could have, his races could be a lot better if he didn't have those setbacks. He's got 119.6 in time trial, which actually isn't one of the quicker times compared to some of the people at the top of the table. But as I said, he's good at coming back. He's got really good race pace. He can overtake very well. I think he'll be battling for the top 3 and maybe even a race win at Monza. I think he can do it with his strengths. He doesn't have too many weaknesses that he's shown so far. So yeah, definitely battling for top 3, but I think he could clinch the race win if things go his way. So now we move on to Silkweaver, the mysterious Silkweaver, driving for the Williams, of course. He's actually second in the driver standings after an incredible showing at Hungary. His pace was incredible, consistently very pacey around Hungary. I think he impressed a lot of people and it took a lot of people by surprise as no one had really seen him in the league before. And what I would say is we don't really know much about Silkweaver at the moment. He didn't attend Austria. We don't know whether this is going to become a factor in his season or whether it was just a one-off in Austria and he couldn't make it. But what I would say is very fast. I think a lot of people respect him for that already. With how he raced in Hungary. But I think my expectation for Silkweaver, if I'm just judging by that Hungary race and from what we've seen of him, I'd say he's battling for the race win. Obviously, top 3 will be up there, I think, but I think my expectation is really him battling for that first spot if he races like he did in that first race of the season. Anyway, moving on to Anarchy. Anarchy is racing in the Alpine. He's third in the driver standings, and he's deservedly there. He's made a lot of overtakes and things, and I think that ability to overtake is, again, just like Edgy, a very strong attribute to have on a track like Monza. The downside to Anarchy, and I think what could hinder him a little bit, is he does get a little reckless with the racecraft, which could result in some setbacks for him eventually. I don't think it's always going to work the way he drives, but when it does, it pays dividends to him. You can't fault him for it. He drives how he wants, and it works most of the time. I expect Anarchy, like I expect him to be most of the season. I expect him to be fighting for that top 5 finish, at least battling for top 5, if not actually finishing in the top 5. But I'd never actually count him out of getting a podium or even a race win at some point because he is really improving. He is a fast driver, everyone knows it, and I feel like Monza could be a very good track for him. Anyway, moving on to Rico. He's in the McLaren. He's 4th in the driver standings. What I'd like to say about Rico is last race in Austria, it's just consistently fast across the board. No spins or anything like that. Just consistent, solid P1 finish for him. No faults really for him so far from what we've seen. I can't really point out any weaknesses. His time trial time at the moment is a 119.3, which is one of the fastest times I've seen from a hot seat driver at the moment. I think he will be battling for a race win with Silkweaver and Edgy and people like that. I think he'll at least get a top 3 or be battling for a top 3 because his consistency on a track like Monza, you could just run away with the lead if you get ahead. What I expect is 2 or 3 cars to be pushing ahead and in front and battling between themselves, and I think Rico will be one of them. Okay, moving on to myself, Whitboy in the Ferrari. I'm fifth in the driver standings at the moment. One thing I would say I've done well is consistently finishing the top five, but I don't think I'm much better than that at the moment. I'm not as fast as some of the drivers around me in the standings. I'm no way as fast as some of the guys up at the top there. My time trial time is 1:19.4, so I am fairly competitive with that. I expect I'll be battling for the top six, or that's what I'm hoping for anyway. Battling for the top six in this race and maybe get myself some points there. But yeah, I'm not expecting huge things for myself, but I'd like to consistently in any race just finish around that fourth, fifth, sixth mark. I'm fairly happy with that. Next up, we have Dylan in the Red Bull. He's sixth in the driver standings. I think he impressed everyone in Austria. He's shown really good pace. One thing it did happen, he did have a bit of a spin, and I think without the safety car, it would have really harmed his race. But luckily, the safety car came through, and he had a great race after that. His time trial time in Monza at the moment is 1:19.3, so he's up there with Rico and Moldy and Dennis and people like that, which I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, he's a very fast driver. He's on a controller as well. So that, Monza's a very good track for controller. I think he'll do very well. I expect he'll be battling for the top three throughout the season, but especially in Monza, where I think he'll be very quick, and I think he can definitely push into that top three for sure. So moving on to Moldy Muscat in his Haas, he's seventh in the driver standings. He's shown really good pace and consistency in Austria. He actually came P2 on track, but a penalty carrying over from Hungary put him in fourth, unfortunately for him. He's got a very fast Monza time trial at a 1:19.0, so very close to the fastest, who I'll reveal soon. Something else about Moldy, which you probably won't like me mentioning, but he actually has the most P2s in hot seat history, and he's never won a race. That could be a problem, as well as his DNF in Hungary. So he has had a DNF already. I don't know if that'll sit in the back of his mind. I'm sure he won't. But yeah, it's more the most P2s in hot seat history that gets me. I expect he will actually be battling for that top three and the race win. He's very fast, and as I said with Dylan, the controller's very good on Monza, so I expect that Moldy will actually be looking for the race win. His first race win, he'll be hungry for it, and I think he could get it. But I mainly think he'll be battling for that top three, but you never know because he's a very fast driver and his time trial is fairly impressive as well. So good luck to you, Moldy. So, DPV 909 in his Mercedes, he's eighth in the driver standings. He has a really good time trial time, actually. He's got a 1:19.2, so his potential on Monza is very good. I just hope he doesn't spin as much as he has in recent races. He has been a little inconsistent, but I don't think this is going to stop him from doing well, and I think he will fix that, and he's going to rise up the table soon. Starting here at Monza, I think he'll do very well. And my expectation for him, he'll be battling for the top six, but if things go his way, he could be battling for those podium positions too. I wouldn't be surprised with his time trial time. Yeah, I think battling for top six is realistic for now. But when he fixes a few of his issues, I'm sure he'll be rising up the table in no time. TC in his Alpine, he's ninth in the driver standings. He had a decent race at Hungary, actually. He actually finished the race, which was a good thing. Not a lot of people did, so that's an achievement in itself. But yeah, he did spin there. I hope this was just a one-off for him. I'm sure it was. He is getting better. He is starting to get better with that traction control. And yeah, I really do think that TC is definitely a dark horse. I think he will creep up the table. Before you know it, he'll be in that sixth, seventh position, definitely soaring up the table. Anyway, so my expectation for TC for this race is probably, I think he will finish in the top eight. I'm not sure where, but it will be in the top eight. Not battling for it. I think he'll be comfortably within the top eight somewhere. Yeah, and I think he can definitely do that. So good luck to you, TC. So now we move on to Siegler F1 and his Aston Martin. He is 10th in the driver standings. He had a really good race in Austria. He's shown great progression already from Hungary and, F1 2020 and the season before. He was a bit slower and making mistakes, but he seems to have really cut those mistakes out. He seems to have got a lot better at racing in general, and he just needs to iron out a few of those inconsistencies, and he is going to be on the ball. I really think he is going to become one of the better drivers in this league eventually. I do think I'm doing him dirty by saying he's going to be battling for the top eight. I'm sorry, Nick, but there's just so many good drivers around that area on the grid. I just don't know who to place where, really. The battle for top 10, the top 8 is around 8th to 10th is massive. You know, that at that lower end of the points, there's so many people that could land in them. Siegler, I think you're one of the more likely candidates for that, but you just don't know. Monza's got a lot of overtakes, and you know it can get quite messy sometimes, especially on that first corner. So we don't know what's going to happen. I wish the best of luck to everyone fighting for those places, but yeah, I think Nick is in for a real good chance of getting that top 8. So now we move on to Drop Dead Lauren in the Ferrari. She's 11th in the driver standings. She's shown really good consistency in Hungary. You know what she did. Her tactic worked very well to sort of sit at the back, wait for those DNFs and safety cars and things, and just sort of wait for the carnage to unfold and place where you place. It worked really well for her, but in Austria, unfortunately, she got damaged, and she had to retire from the race. It was red wing damage. There's nothing she could have done, but she needs to basically avoid that. She does spin and hit the wall and things, or clip the wall by accident, and if she could just stop that, then that would be great. And I think she could do really well. She's definitely the best female driver in the league by far. So well done for that, Lauren. Her time trial time was a 1:21.2 when I looked at it earlier. I'm not sure if she's improved on that, but my expectation for her is to be battling for that 10th spot, that top 10. I think she can. She's already proven she can land in that top 10. But as I said in Nick's one, that you just don't know. There's so many people battling for that top 10 spot, that top 8 to 10th spot. You really don't know. I think Lauren's in for a good shout. For sure. She needs to get a bit of luck going her way, but yeah, she's good at Monza. I've seen her race it before, and I think she has a good chance of battling for that top 10. Next up is Seals in his Alfa Romeo. He's 12th in the driver standings at the moment. He has really good race pace, actually. I've had a few battles with him myself. He's been very clean, with me at least anyway. I haven't really seen him anywhere else on track. He's been slightly inconsistent. I think he's had to pit quite a few times, but I do expect him to fix that. He will come back, and I know he's a very good driver. His time trial time is actually a 1:19.9. So yep, he's in that mid pack, that sort of lower end, like 8th to 10th again. He's another candidate that is battling for that top 10, 8th to 10th sort of area. It's just, as I keep saying, there's so many people that are going for that position, and some people are going to miss out, and I don't know who it is, and I can't predict who it is because it's just so close. But good luck to you, Seals. So next up is Ice in his McLaren. He's 13th in the driver standings. He does have really good race pace. He has qualified in 6th on Hungary as well. But yeah, what I have noticed, he is very quick in the race. He just makes a few mistakes here and there that really cost him his race and ruin it for him. Which, everyone's still really getting used to the new game. It's a bit harder than F1 2020 for sure. But as soon as I think in a few races' time, people like Ice are really going to start creeping up the table because he's going to get used to the game again. He's going to fulfill his maximum potential on the track, basically. At the moment, though, I'm going to say he's in that battle for the 8th to 10th, top 10 position. Just going by how his races have gone so far, I'd put him up in that battle for top 10. Okay, so next up is Unknown in his Mercedes. He's 14th in the driver standings. He's extremely strong in qualifying. He's actually got the fastest time trial time in practice so far with a 1:18.9. The only one in hot seat at the moment that we know of to get into the 1:18. So that's fairly impressive. We know how good Unknown is. It's just how inconsistent he is at just getting to that final hurdle, finishing the race strongly. It always feels like something goes wrong for him. Like he's way ahead, and the safety car happens, and then an incident happens to him, or Wills spectates him. Luckily, you won't have that this week, Unknown. So he won't spectate you, so you should be all right. You don't have the curse; it's been lifted this weekend. I actually think Unknown is going to have a really good weekend. I think he is going to be battling for that top 3, maybe even first, if he can just string a race together. I think he'll be way up the top there. I think he'll be battling for top 3 for sure, if not even more than that. So good luck to you, Unknown. We're all rooting for you, mate. We are all rooting for you, I can assure you that. So good luck on Saturday. So next up is Justin in his AlphaTauri. It's 15th in the driver standings. He's had some promising races. He has looked good. Unfortunately, in Hungary, he DNF'd quite early due to a car being on track or something like that. But in Austria, he looked so good. He was sixth until nearly the last lap, and he just got that one spin, and it just ruined his whole race. I think if he can just take out that spin, if he just somehow irons that out for Monza, he's going to have a really strong finish. He'll come 5th, 6th, 7th. I think you'll be battling for that top 8, top 10 again. I think you're in that battle at the moment. I really think you are capable of more than that. But at this time, I think at this present moment, there are just people who are more likely to get higher up the grid, just judging by how their season's gone so far. But yeah, I do think you've got a lot of potential, especially on something like Monza, where you can really shine with the overtakes and things like that. So good luck to you, and I hope you do well. So next up we have Rusty Welder in his Haas. He is 16th in the driver standings. He does have decent pace. He did show that in Hungary. He was up there until his unfortunate incident with Frankie. He was up there in the 9th, 10th position. He did very well. He survived longer than a lot of people in that race. But yeah, he did DNF in Hungary, and that could be a bit of a problem. It could be in the back of his mind. And also, he didn't attend Austria, so we don't know if he's going to attend or not. We haven't heard a lot from him in the Discord. Haven't really seen him speaking there for a while. Let's hope he attends, because he's interesting to race against. He's good for the grid. Yeah, let's hope he's there. I expect he'll be battling for the top 10. Obviously, his season hasn't gone too well so far. He's on 0 points, so that's really the only thing I can say so far. But I think he is in for a really good shout for the top 10 for definite, like a lot of people. It's such an exciting season. But yeah, good luck to you, Rusty. I hope you manage to make it this time, mate. Next up is Frankie. Now, look, he had a great race in Hungary. That's all we have to go off, because he didn't show up in Austria for whatever reason. But yeah, he had a good race in Hungary until, as I just mentioned, he had a bit of a coming together with Rusty, unfortunately. He'll be looking to correct that at Monza, though, I'm sure. He'll be really wanting a strong race. I actually expect him to finish in the top 10. I'm not going to say he's going to battle for the top 10. As I said, I think he will really want to get some points on the board now. He's definitely good enough to get points. He could land anywhere from 5th to 10th, in my opinion. So, yeah, go Frankie. So next is Blue Flame in his Williams. He's 18th in the driver standings. He's got very good qualifying and race pace. It's a bit of a similar situation to Unknown. They both lost a lot of positions, as we mentioned on the podcast. But yeah, as I also said in the podcast, I don't think he's going to stay down here in 18th. He will rise up the standings. He will have a good race, and eventually he'll start getting into a rhythm, and everything will click for him, I'm sure. His time trial time is 1:20 flat. I expect him to be battling for the top 5 this race. I don't think he's quite there with the guys at the top, but I do think he is at the top. He could battle for top 5 if he gets some luck. If he gets a bit of a break, I think he could get on the podium. Yeah, it's just like an Unknown situation again. I think they're both very fast, very good at qualifying. It's just that race consistency that they need. So yeah, and I'm sure you'll get it, Blue Flame. You're a very good driver. Good luck, mate. Next up is Just Beatty in his Alfa Romeo. He's 19th in the driver standings. He's shown some really good racing in previous events. He was in the F2 briefly last year. I've done some online lobbies with him as well. He is a good driver, and he's got fairly good race pace at times. He did DNF at Hungary, and he didn't show at Austria. So really, for me, the best I could do for him with that in mind, I'm saying battling for top 10. That's a bit of a push, because obviously you've got a DNF and a no-show, so it doesn't look great. But look, there's still 12 races to go. If you consistently show up to those and just try not to DNF if you can. I know you got very unfortunate in Hungary. That wasn't your fault at all. You came around the corner, there's a car in the middle of the track. Not a lot you could do there, so that was unfortunate. But yeah, I think you could definitely rise up the table a bit. I think you can get some top 10s, maybe even higher on a good day. So keep going, keep training, and I'm sure that you'll get some points. Last but definitely not least is Marsh in his AlphaTauri. He's 20th in the driver standings, but he hasn't actually driven yet due to complications with his equipment being delivered to his house because he's moved and things like that. But anyway, he was the winner of the HSRL Season 2. He's got very good qualifying race pace. He didn't just win that for no reason. He's a very good driver. Yeah, so for me, the downsides for you, Marsh, are your equipment showing off on time, your lack of practice on 2021. Unfortunately, it is a lot different. The handling model does feel a lot different, and I think you may need to adapt even if you do get your equipment in time. Yeah, you just don't have enough time to prepare in my eyes. I think it'll be quite difficult. With that said, though, I still expect you to be battling for the top 5. I think you are up there with the best drivers in the league. Let's hope you can get your equipment, and let's see it, man. Let's see what you're capable of on F1 2021. So that concludes the hype for Monza round 3. Now, I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone that's watched, and I want to know your opinions. Let me know your opinions either on Discord or in the comments on YouTube or anything like that. I want to see if you think I got it right or whether I was completely off. Let me know. They're just my opinions at the end of the day. So if I said something that you didn't like, prove me wrong at Monza, and let's see it, guys. Let's see a good race. I wish you all the best of luck. Goodbye.